Hey, it's Chris Gio from Merchant Method, and I am really excited to get into how to prepare yourself for a 90-day turnaround. Now, a 90-day turnaround in the speed of retail may either feel completely aspirational or out of reach, or depending on where you are in your business, not fast enough. But there are a few things you can do to prepare for a really focused quarterly action plan to set yourself up for the most leveraged next 90 days in your business. So I want to explore a few of these mindsets, thoughts, actions, practices with you. The first thing that I want you to do is to value readiness. Now, if you started your business before you were ready, you are in the company of many, many entrepreneurs and many business owners. If we knew everything that our business entails, we may have never decided to start the business in the first place, or we may have tried to mitigate every single risk, waiting for something that's virtually risk-free that we wouldn't have started. That notion of starting before you're ready is really fantastic if you have a lot of imposter syndrome, if you have the very real fear of failure. But as you move on in your business and continue to grow, this idea of letting yourself be guided by whim, by pure charisma and inspiration and excitement, or be completely guided by your intuition, what that ends up looking like in your business is that you may feel stuck. You may feel like you're not making real progress, or you may feel like you explored a path and yes, you learned something from it, but you're 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line and nowhere near the level of progress you were hoping for. So what I want you to do and what I invite you to do is to allow yourself to press the pause button on your ideas every once in a while. While there may feel like a complete sense of urgency because time is a non-renewable resource, where you set yourself up as an existing business, where you set yourself up for success, is to really value being progress ready. And if you invest the time up front to prepare for the next 90 days, you are actually setting yourself up for a more successful, less friction-laden experience of executing your 90-day turnaround plan. The second thing I want you to think about is the anatomy of either your business planner or your business calendar or any project management app. So there are a few things about these tools, about these time management tools that are helpful, but they're deceptive almost to a fault. So calendars and planners help us think through time in a really linear sense. Year, a quarter, a month, a week, a day. And it allows us to plot things on a calendar and maybe even to manage our time by day. Depending on your digital calendar or your app, you may be able to set things up like notifications for upcoming due dates, color code things so you can differentiate quickly different types of activity, like marketing activity versus payroll activity. And if you're using a project management software like Asana or Basecamp, it might even allow you to communicate with team members. And the anatomy of these kinds of tools is chock full of potential. But the potential can never be unlocked unless those tools are informed. And so we're taught either by peers or through a false sense of security that having one of these planners is automatically going to allow us to prioritize our work, when all it does is allow us to manage time. But we as owners, as stewards of the brand, as creators and cultivators of brand values, We have to inform the priorities. These tools cannot do them for us. And so they will be helpful, but I want you to open up your understanding and your mindset that the tool is only as useful as what you put into it. The third thing I want you to do is to start to explore and appreciate the characteristics of a well thought out plan. So earlier in the year, I had asked if anyone was a really die-hard fan of a planning process, of a project management tool. And one of my maker students raised their hand and said that they have been using the Franklin Covey system for a really long time. And the Franklin Covey system is kind of two things. It's a project management process as well as a physical planner. And I can almost guarantee that if we took her planner away, what would allow her to stay on track is the process behind the planner, because the planner is just a piece of paper that's dated and timed. But because she has this really well thought out process, she's able to keep track of her priorities, so much so that she can mentally sort through priorities quickly because she's got a sustainable process and system. That isn't a physical system, but a decision-making system. And so when you think through how to really optimize your amazing planner or your amazing calendar, what you'll be doing is adding a planning system, project management in place. So the characteristics of a good plan are really examining opportunities from beginning to end, examining potential ways to enhance the opportunity or the plan, looking for blind spots and pitfalls, really assessing how long it will take, how much money, what kind of resources you need, what additional information you need in order to execute the plan. Now, I often like to think of it as if you were throwing or hosting a party. Yes, there are things that might lay out really nicely in a calendar. Send guest invitations, secure venue, send out invitations, secure photographer, order catering, hire bartender, select DJ. All of those things are tactical, but this party is only going to be as good as you really want it to be if you have decision-making filters that allow you to prioritize all of these choices. What makes a quality venue? What guests will actually enhance the experience for everyone participating? What quality of photographer and really quality of work is going to capture the emotions of that evening and really reflect them pictorially? What kind of photographer do you need? How well do you want to work with each of these vendors? What are the terms in all of their contracts? There's so much that goes into hosting a party that your due dates don't necessarily inform. So you actually need the plan, the decision-making filters, the creative guidelines. The fourth thing that I want you to really embrace is that the way that you manage your products, your beautiful assortment and inventory, is not going to be the same way you manage projects. Product management, as you are so well aware, is a whole host and suite of activities around identifying the right assortment for your customers, presenting it, pricing it, flowing it, putting it in the correct sales channel in a way that is just right and entices your customer to make the purchase. Project management really is about thoughtful risk assessment and risk aversion, and then laying out strategic and tactical plans. It's a mix of short-term and long-term. It's like your friend that has to know every single detail before you go on vacation. And so they're really, really different because your project plan has to be highly informed. Your product plan is prone to things like customer choice is prone to do better if you merchandise it well. It's prone to do better if you sell it differently, if you display it differently, if you change the price point. It's more of an organic way to manage products along with a mastery of the financials. But project management really is operational and strategic in nature. The fourth thing I want you to think about is when it comes to feeling like you're making real progress, that sense of making real progress is going to be different for every business. There's not one universal standard of measurement that equates your progress from another brand's progress. The only universal measurement is quantitative things like revenue, profit, cash flow. But because your business is a values-based business and you're in business not only to simply drive top-line revenue and bottom-line growth, you're here to do other things. That is the essence of your brand and what you believe in. Your level of progress for your business in the next 90 days is going to vary wildly. How you get there is going to be varied wildly. There is not one correct answer. There's just the answer that's right for you right now. And in order for you to figure out what that is, because when it comes to progress, it's going to be different for you, you have to set goals. And these goals need to be a mix of quantitative and qualitative. They need to be a mix of process and outcome. So as you think through the next 90 days of business, of really committing so you can make real progress in your business, embrace this idea of pressing the pause button so you can really commit to getting ready to create as successful a plan as possible. Number two, embrace that you will be adding to your planner or your calendar a really good plan. One that's informed by your brand values, informed by your customer, informed by your mission. Number four, I want you to appreciate and start to behave with this idea that project management is right for any size business, not just large corporations, but project management will benefit you when it comes to working on things that allows you to grow. And product management is something very different. And when you apply product management to projects, that might be a big area in which you are not able to break a cycle and grow. And then the last thing I want you to think about before you hit these 90 days of turnaround is to set some really meaningful goals for your business so that ultimately you can measure your progress. So I hope that these 5 primers allow you to really set the stage for your next 90 days of business so that you can actually make real progress and turn around whatever you want to turn around, whether it is customer loyalty, whether it's revenue, whether it's decreasing expenses, whether it's increasing brand awareness, whatever's right for you. These 5 primer practices should get you ready. Thank you so much for joining me. Next week, I cannot wait to connect with you. And until then, stay tuned in. Bye.